They ain't happening.
Right. Back. Right. You ready to run? Oh.
I can move my hands.
Contract. Release. Oh. There you go. We're drawing 4 points. Left. Front. Right. Back. Left. Oh.
Hello. Welcome back to the Potluck Show. I'm your host, Meera Narasimhan. Today, we have something new that Potluck has never had before. It is dance, but not your usual dance. We have our guests who are great dancers, who are literally born to dance. And we are going to be focusing on belly dancing and belly bolly dancing, which is a mixture of belly and Bollywood dancing. So let's welcome our guests, Garima Paris and Nina Japanwalla. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Meera.
Let me begin with you, Garima. Tell me, what do you do?
I'm a realtor and a federal proposal manager by the day. Dance has always been a passion, so that's just something I do on the side for fun.
And when did you start when did you realize you have this passion for dancing?
I started dancing maybe when I was 3 or 4 year old, started from Bharatanatyam in school and then moved to jazz a little bit in high school, which I very quickly realized is not my style of dance. Then in college, I first was introduced to belly dancing through Banjara School of Dance in India. And I auditioned to be an instructor. It was very new in India, and there was this whole thing of how belly dancing was looked upon. And having the personality that I have, anything that's difficult, I'm in it. So I decided to be a part of it and started learning belly dancing.
So you graduated from what is very traditional classical Indian dancing, Bharatanatyam, to jazz, to belly dancing.
Right.
Why did you like belly dancing over the others?
I think it's just how your body moves naturally. I felt very comfortable with the dance form. I could connect to it. It's very feminine. When I learned about the history of it, it was very attractive to me. And I just kept getting into it because then I learned more about your feminine energy, and I'm a lot into yoga and meditation. So just talking about yin and yang and balancing your energies, I found out belly dancing is one of the ways you can actually be connected to your feminine energy. Just reading so much about it, the whole subject interested me so much that this
Give us a little bit background about belly dancing.
So going back 6,000 years ago when it was started, there are stories that you could easily find online. There were women, as a group of women, they would worship a goddess, and it was belly dancing was done to celebrate fertility, which was a gift from the goddess. Eventually, in all the social arrangements in Middle East culture, women in general used to celebrate or party separate than the men, and men would be in a different room, women would be in a different room, and all the women will get together, and this was their way of entertainment. And the third attractive thing about it was, when you see belly dancing, it's seen a certain way, but all these belly movement, it's supposed to be very good for fertility and preparing a woman for pregnancy and just the womb. So these were, the original name from belly dancing actually came from a French word, danse du ventre, which is dance of the stomach. So it's all controlling your muscles and controlling your breathing, and that's how you do it. So it's a beautiful exercise form. It's the best way you can be healthy.
That's good to know. So welcome, Nina.
Thank you, Meera.
And I know you're a radiologist by profession. How did you get into dance?
Well, like you've introduced me as a radiologist, I'm a doctor by profession and dancer by passion. I came to dance much later in life because I had to go to med school and do all the training, so was very focused on that for a long time. But once I had my child and I was, settled in my profession, I decided that I would learn dance, and Kathak always interested me because I used to watch a lot of Bollywood dances and I saw a lot of influence of Kathak.
And Kathak is another Indian classical dance form.
Yes, it's more foot-based, rhythmic dance, and you have to keep your body straight. And belly dance, I kind of always wanted to learn, but I could never find a good instructor. And then my gym started this belly dance class. So I met the instructor who became my belly dance guru.
This is in Maryland?
This is in Maryland, and her name is Suzanne Mills, and I learned, started going for group fitness classes with her. So it's a lot of belly dance for fitness, and you have to engage your core a lot, so you do get the ab muscles that you want, and of course she's a great belly dancer, and she trained more in Persian style. So I didn't do like the traditional belly dance lessons like she did, and I just learned it as part of a group fitness class.
But when you shifted from, in your gym, when you first started learning, how did you feel, training the core, because that's not what you do in Kathak?
Right. Well, I've always done Bollywood dancing, because I remember as a teenager, I would lock myself in my room and play Rishi Kapoor, Hum Kisi Se Kam Nahi songs, and I would start dancing like a crazy person. I was very, very shy, so I would never dance in public like that. But I realized once I started performing Kathak, which was more applied Kathak, I would take Bollywood classical dances like Madhuban Mein Radhika Nache Re or Kahe Chher Chher Mohe. And it gave me so much confidence, because people would come and tell me, oh, you did so well. And it gave me so much confidence, and now you know me. I'm a very social person. I can go and talk to anybody that I want. And that's one thing about dance, that it made me more open and more confident.
So dance liberated you in a way.
Exactly, exactly.
And that's wonderful. And I've seen you dance. I know you're born to dance. You have come up with your own mix of dancing. It's not just pure belly dancing, not Bollywood dancing. How did you arrive at that?
Oh, well, the first time I actually thought about it was when I was asked to perform at my friend's wedding. And I said, I don't want to do a traditional Bollywood dance, because everybody at Indian weddings does the traditional, bole chudiya and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I want to do something different. I want to do it, and I did a Bali belly fusion with a medley of Bollywood songs. People thought I was a professional belly dancer, because and I was like, no, I'm a mother of a kid, and I just love to dance, and a lot of it was not rehearsed. As you know, I don't like to rehearse anything. It's just whatever my body just, whenever it hears music, it sees that movement. My friends make fun of me because they say you'll probably dance at bhajans too, because your body just feels movement.
Right.
So it's one thing that gets your endorphins going. So I get a dancer's high, and I've been told that when I dance, I look like I'm drunk, but I'm not, because you have such a high from dancing, and I'm sure Garima will agree with that.
I do.
So coming back to you, Garima, belly dancing is not just about the belly, it's a workout for the whole body, right?
That's correct.
So how does that work? I mean, tell me.
Well, there are different parts of the body that you move. The whole idea about dancing to belly dance technique is dividing your body in two parts. So one of your part is above your pelvis, and the next is lower than your pelvis. And when you move the top of your body, you avoid moving the lower. And then when you move your lower body, you try not to move your top. And then there are steps where you combine both, but your lower body is doing a different step than your top body. So I can take my body left, with my chest undulations, and my pelvis would go right, and it would be doing a different step. So it's a lot of coordination and technique involved, but once you get used to it, it just happens so naturally.
I think I'm going to go for your demo now, the way you explain. We actually have to watch it to be able to understand what she's talking about. And let's have Garima solo on at this point, so we actually have a, not just a tell, but a show and tell of the movements that she's talking about for the belly dancing. And this is a lovely piece of music that she has picked herself.
حبي جمعنا وتبع كل واحد
Well, Garima, thank you. That was just beautiful.
Thank you, Meera.
Wow, you two were born to dance. And Nina, let me ask you.
Sure.
You rehearsed with her. You tried to.
We try to.
What was most challenging for you?
Well, she's a very heavily trained belly dancer. I'm more of a freestyle Billy Bolly. So we had trouble synchronizing our movements. So I would leave the pure belly dance to her, and I would do more belly Bolly with, like with our facial expressions and our hand movements, because our hand movements can be very delicate.
True.
With belly dance, they're more like serpentine or serpiginous, as I call it, snake arms.
So you think the muscular movements in belly dancing is more structured as opposed to, Bollywood also has structure, but it's more freestyle?
More freestyle, yeah.
I think more technique for belly dance or any other specific kind of dance. It's technique, and I think Bollywood is a mix of different styles together.
Okay. But as you've seen in Bollywood movies, Katrina Kaif has done belly dance to Sheila Ki Jawani and the song Mashallah, Mashallah. And also recently, Noora Fatehi did a new version of Saki Saki, where she's done belly dance moves. And when I watched the dance, I realized she was doing more Turkish style, where you do a lot of floor work. And the Turkish style is very energetic and playful. And
Tell me about all the different styles.
Well, I mentioned the Turkish style, which is more rhythmic. And the Egyptian is more controlled and more precise and more undulation. Very more delicate movements, but I think both can, incorporated in each other's dance. So it's kind of hard to say this is typically Turkish and this is typically Egyptian, or this is Persian or Lebanese.
Oh, so there are subtle differences, but
Yes.
you can really distinguish it.
Yeah, but like I said about the Turkish, because they were not as restricted by religion as Egyptians were. So they were more free, and they were able to do a lot of movements that Egyptian dance would be considered, they would be frowned upon. And in Turkish dance, they use a lot of finger castanets. They call it zils. And in Turkey, you're not considered an accomplished belly dancer unless you've mastered the zils, which we don't have today. But they're little fingers, you make noise, tick, 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 tick.
Oh, that's wonderful. I see you guys have brought some props. You want to start with what this is?
Okay, while you talk about it, this is called a sword.
But it's not used for fencing.
It's not used for fencing. So just dancing with the sword and balancing the sword while you do all the movements.
Wow. This is when
amazing.
you're really dancing with that. I can't wait to see the demo. Maybe you'll have some time to show that.
Well, this one is gone for today. Maybe another show.
Well, I brought two canes, one for you to use, which is the unadorned one.
For the old lady?
Well, you'll find out that you never lose your passion for dance, no matter how old you are. And if you look at dancers who've danced for most of their lives, you look younger than other people.
True.
And this is the cane, and the cane is used in various ways. You can put it on the ground, or you can just move around with it, put it over your head, or put it behind. And you also twirl it like a baton, which I can't do here.
So that's part of Bollywood dancing or belly
That's
dancing?
belly dancing.
Okay.
Yeah, Bollywood doesn't use cane.
And what about the
Well,
scarf?
this is a veil. I don't have enough room, but I will show it in our next dance, how to use the veil a little bit. But for Indians, any dupatta you can use, and it's really just moving the veil and just doing steps different.
Okay.
To
But are you going to be using it? for
I
your
will
next
use
number?
my skirt maybe.
Oh, okay. That's good to do. So tell me something more about belly dancing.
Well, a lot of things. I think one of the biggest challenges I've seen in belly dance is how it is looked upon, despite of being the Oriental dance as one of the most beautiful dance forms and one of the most complicated dance forms you can possibly learn. Everything that's beautiful is sometimes misused and sometimes looked upon differently, and I think belly dance is one of the things. And there are a lot of stories you'll find if you read about it, where it's been. People are saying that maybe we should stop calling it a belly dance, maybe just call it Oriental dance, which is the true name for it. But it is a very common thing. You cannot do belly dance a lot of time either unless you're in a tight fitted cloth or top or skirt, or unless your belly showed off, because the movements are so
Micro movements.
They're micro movements. You wouldn't see if it's not.
How do you
if it's
explain
covered.
this dichotomy where, mostly the regions that you talked about, Egypt and Turkey and Lebanon and all, the Middle East, very conservative societies. And then you talk about belly dancing the way you have to dress a certain way. Otherwise, what's the point of wearing a long tunic and having a belly dance, right?
Right.
So how how do they reach a compromise on that?
So if you look at there are different kinds of costumes for belly dancing. What I'm wearing is more of a tribal dance form, so it was more what tribal people used to wear, who were of course more free. What she's wearing is similar to a gypsy costume. And then we have Egyptian costumes, which are either a tight-fitted long skirt with a slit and either a bare stomach, or it's a long dress, but it's very tight-fitted. So whenever the movements are done, you can still see your belly pop. And that's one of the reasons why I said that women used to do it in groups, but then there were tribal people who would do it on streets. There's actually a story where there was a group of women, tribal women, who started dancing from India all the way to Middle East, just staying at different parts on the road and just dancing
gypsies,
and learning. So eventually people became more open, and it was done all over Europe. Once again, where the French dance du watre, the word comes from, it's a French word. It became very popular in Europe, and in about 1980s is when it became popular in other Western countries.
And it stopped being looked down upon, I think, once it got popular.
It is, but if you still see, and that's one of the reasons I do not perform publicly, is there are all sorts of people and they all look through their own lenses. I still see dancers performing and people throwing money at them, which is, I think it's a personal choice. Some people are okay doing it.
So
but some
throwing
people,
money is not an honor?
I think it's how you take it. I would not like it when I'm dancing. I would like to be seen for what I'm doing technical, because I never dance for money pretty much. So that's not what I'm looking for. But I'm sure there are some women who are probably okay with it, but I don't think you can generalize it for everybody. I think people should be respected the way they want to be respected.
What do you think? You could dance anywhere, or it's a conservative society overall?
Well, one thing I realized, even when I told you when I performed at my friend's wedding, I had to dress a little bit more conservatively, because Indians expect Indian women to dress conservatively. They don't expect, if it was a Persian person or a Middle Eastern person, they would be okay with it because that's their dress. I'm actually wearing a belly bali costume because I got this from an Indian store, this outfit. And it's like a typical choli.
Yeah, a top.
Yes, and this is like a lehenga. So this would be okay, but anything, like, I have to feel comfortable.
Right.
And if I don't feel comfortable, I won't be able to dance.
Understood. Yeah, but then, sometimes, like you said, others dictate what you wear or you don't wear, if you're doing it for a public performance.
Well, one thing I had to get used to in belly dance, which we do not do in Indian dance, is this, the chest shimmy, which is, now they do it more, but before they would never have done that in any dance movement, because that's considered very provocative. And of course, Choli ke piche kya hai made this popular.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So one of the ways, like, even if you do Bharatnatyam, now I'm thinking, going back when I used to do, my tummy would be visible in a Bharatnatyam costume too a lot of times, but nobody would throw money at you when you're doing Bharatnatyam. Then why for belly dance?
Exactly.
Just because it's called that, or it's seen a certain way, and it's just a more appealing dance form.
No, probably, like you said, it is the perspective of the person who is there. And generally, I know we don't want to bring gender into this, but this is a male issue. The way they look at dance and the way they perceive belly dancing, I think it has to do with that, because I don't remember seeing women throwing money.
Right.
So.
Well, in Indian movies, when they used to do the mujras, which were done by courtesans, they would throw money. So in our minds, also, it's like you throw money at somebody who's a woman of the evening, as delicately as I can put it. So I think part of it is also the culture you're brought up in, because if you've seen it in that regard, then you're going to feel uncomfortable when somebody's throwing money at you.
So I think, we talked a lot. Let's look for more dance.
Okay.
In the sense, I think you have a very fast and long number, and you both are going to do relay dancing with it, fast and
gonna
slow,
tag
and
team.
with your own movements.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to watch that. And here it is. that is gorgeous. Well, now that you are such a good, well, I want to ask you that, Nina, but Garima, you're such a good, confident belly dancer and you're doing it. Would you be interested in teaching, or are you already teaching it?
I do give private lessons. I'm not teaching group classes right now. I will probably eventually get there, but absolutely, if anybody needs any private lessons, I'm here to teach. And once I have the group lessons, I'm sure I'll advertise so people can follow my Facebook or for more details.
And well, Garima Paris is very easy to find because she's a realtor. You can just Google her, and if you want to learn belly dancing, go to her. Because I'm sure you watched her dance, and that piece was beautiful, and she's just born to dance. In fact, both of you in your own ways, I think. That is wonderful. Thank you for being our guest.
You're welcome.
Meera.
Thank you.
I hope you all love this dance segment of ours, and I'm your host, Meera Narasimhan. Until next time, bye. In case you dare to, please stay on and continue to watch this. Or now you can excuse yourself and stop watching, because Garima, our guru, wants us to try out, and she says it's easy. Good luck to all of us.
So we start. Pelvis contracted, spine straight, chest lifted. Left. Bend your left knee and